Standing taller than the delegates of the lesser species, the Galactic Council occupied their magnificent chamber. The blue and green planet floated in the holographic representation of Earth, and the Emperor's eyes narrowed as he glared at it. In the opinion of the assembled leaders, Earth was a joke, a diminutive world with outdated technology spinning in the center of the room. The Emperor's tone was filled with contempt as he introduced the newest race to plead for acceptance in their galaxy. A world of laughter echoed from the primitive planet's mere ability to leave its atmosphere, as if that alone meant they deserved attention. Laughter, cruel and hollow, rippled through the chamber. These were animals who had long since outgrown the need for insignificant things. They didn't ask for material resources or planetary defenses, they asked for peace. One of the counselors spoke up, barely able to hide his grin, mocking the notion that such beings could pose a threat. The Emperor leaned forward, lips curled in a grimace. Peace? No, he already saw their fate. Earth was but a dust particle in the vastness of their empire. A demonstration would suffice. There was no need for debate. They were the real might of the galaxy. To them, Earth was merely an annoyance, one that would be subdued and absorbed with ease. A single fleet would be sent. The leaders unanimously agreed this would be a simple conquest. The meeting concluded quickly. There was little more to discuss. Earth, that unimportant backwater world, would collapse without resistance. The galactic fleet was summoned. Soon the skies over Earth would darken beneath their battleships. As the council departed, the Emperor approached one of his top officials. "Bolster our might," he ordered. "Military advisors dispatch the fleet commander." "This will be a straightforward display of force," the Emperor declared. "I want their leaders begging for mercy on their knees." The commander bowed his head. "As you wish, Your Excellency, their fate is sealed." Earth's defenses would be overrun. The galaxy would be reminded of the Empire's unmatched supremacy. There was nothing Earth could do, no chance against the superior ships, technology, and firepower of the Galactic Empire. In mere days, the interstellar fleet set out. The humans were ridiculous, armed with primitive weapons and shields. The Empire's rulers didn't even bother watching the developments. It was a done deal. A celebration began. Earth would finally join the cosmic elite, not as an equal, but as a conquered footnote. Diplomacy was unnecessary, no need for justification. Humans would either surrender or be destroyed. Messages were broadcast across Earth's networks. Mocking, jeering transmissions advised Earth citizens to prepare for their inevitable defeat. Any resistance, the Emperor warned, would be futile. He watched from the protection of his throne, a ruthless grin on his lips. This was the natural order. This was their place, and he would love to see humanity kneel. But the galactic leaders had made one critical error. They underestimated Earth. They dismissed its people as fragile, its technology as crude. They didn't know Earth had been preparing. Despite the lack of numbers, despite the technological gap, mankind had something the Empire could not calculate, not forbidden weapons, but willpower, creativity. As the yacht flotilla approached, they didn't realize they were flying straight into a trap. Earth's leaders had not been caught off guard. They had seen the signs, watched as other worlds fell under the Empire's control. But Earth was different. Humanity adapts and humanity endures. In a remote facility far from the eyes of the public, a project had been underway, the result of decades of research, of science fused with deeper truths of physics. At the heart of it was Dr. Rohr, a brilliant, often criticized scientist. His ideas were once called crazy, but now they were Earth's last hope. In the control room, he stood silently. Final preparations were underway. The outer defenses were a ruse, satellites, missiles, drones, all just a show. The true weapon was hidden below. It wasn't made for prolonged war. It was designed to do one thing and do it perfectly, a quantum weapon based on principles other species hadn't even begun to understand. It didn't rely on brute force, it relied on elegance, precision, simplicity. One shot, one perfectly aimed strike, and even the most powerful fleet would fall. Dr. Rohr watched as the final targeting calculations were completed. Everything was double-checked, no room for error. He took a deep breath and gave the final order. The lance fired. For a moment, nothing happened. The galactic fleet kept advancing unaware. Then the flagship, pride of the Empire, disappeared in a flash of light. A single shot had pierced its core, its shields useless, its defenses meaningless. The heart of the fleet gone in an instant. A stunned silence fell across Earth. Even those who had anticipated this moment were in awe. The Empire's symbol of dominance destroyed, and in the middle of it all, Dr. Rohr smiled. The message was clear: Earth was not weak. They had been underestimated, and now the rest of the fleet was leaderless. They were no longer the hunters, they were the prey. Confusion spread. The remaining ships paused. They had never faced an enemy like this, one that could destroy their flagship in a single strike. Optimism turned to fear. A simple conquest had become something else entirely. The galactic fleet, proud and mighty, was unraveling. Earth's true defenses had only just begun, and now the real war had started. Despite their confusion, the fleet still outnumbered and outgunned Earth's forces, but their arrogance had cost them. The alien commander scrambled to regain control, issuing contradictory orders. Some ships began to retreat, unsure of what other horrors Earth had hidden. Others pressed forward, prideful, afraid to look weak. But the chain of command was broken. Earth moved swiftly. Their military targeted the most vital ships with surgical precision. They weren't aiming to destroy everything, they were aiming to dismantle the Empire's fleet piece by piece. Panic spread, those once mighty warships now crumbling. The Empire's shields failed, their pride shattered. Now they had a choice: retreat and face disgrace, or stay and be destroyed. Earth believed it could handle the issue. Humanity had demonstrated its resilience, strength, and capacity for adaptation. Although the future was uncertain, Earth felt hopeful for the first time in a long while. People on Earth celebrated when word of the victory spread. The invasion had been avoided. Their world was temporarily safe. But the battle's actual effects would ripple far beyond Earth's atmosphere. News of the Galactic Fleet defeat spread like wildfire. Whispers of revolt grew louder. Some planets that had once dreaded the Empire began to doubt its might. Once confident in their superiority, the galactic leaders now faced a dilemma unlike any they'd ever encountered. Their adversaries had always been other species and empires that used the same brute force, but Earth was different. The humans fought with shrewdness and precision, a new form of conflict the Empire was unprepared for. And so, while Earth celebrated its victory, the Galactic Empire began preparing its counterattack. They would not let this loss stand. They would return and they would be ready. But for now, Earth stood proud. The galactic leader's position in the galaxy was permanently altered by this defeat. They had ridiculed Earth's defenses, but they had learned painfully that humanity was a force not to be underestimated. The Galactic Empire had never experienced such humiliation. The failure of their flagship fleet and Earth's shocking resistance sent shock waves through the highest echelons of power. In the days following the battle, the leaders of the Empire were forced to face a reality they had never imagined. They had ruled with an iron fist for millennia, crushing all who opposed them. They had never encountered a true challenger, especially not from a world they deemed inconsequential. On Earth, the triumph brought relief, but the planet's authorities understood the truth: the Empire would return. Humanity had bought itself time, but not immunity. The element of surprise, Earth's greatest advantage, was gone. At the center where the lance had been discharged, Dr. Rohr and his team were already working tirelessly. They were examining battle data, preparing for what they knew would be an inevitable second wave. The weapon had performed flawlessly, but they knew it would not be enough on its own. Next time, Earth would need more than one powerful weapon. The enemy's onslaught would be different. As Earth's leaders gathered to plan their next move, one question echoed through every room: how could they get ready? The struggle for survival had only just begun. The Galactic Empire would reorganize, and next time they would be ruthless. Earth's commanders knew they couldn't match the Empire ship for ship, gun for gun. They had to rely on what had worked before: strategy, flexibility, and ingenuity. Rohr's team knew they had to fight in ways the Empire would never expect. New strategies were already being crafted. The lance had been successful, but it was just one piece of a broader defense plan. Smaller, mobile strike teams would be part of Earth's future defenses, striking the enemy where they least expected it. Scientists and engineers continued developing new technologies. The goal wasn't just survival, it was to prove Earth could not be broken. But the Galactic Empire was in chaos. For the first time, cracks began to show in their supposedly invincible armor. Planets long held in submission now looked at Earth's victory as proof that resistance was possible. Minor uprisings began across several systems. The Empire was forced.